All right, everybody, welcome to week 5 here in CA 102, Culinary Concepts and Foundations, week 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Week 5. Last week, we got into mayonnaise and vinaigrette. How'd everybody like it? Thumbs up if you liked it. What do you got out there? Yeah? We were just talking to Nate. Nate seemed like he had a little challenge there with the mayonnaise. Anybody else have that kind of challenge out there? Yes, no, yeah. Kevin did. Yeah. Darrell did. A couple of you out there did, yeah. And like I was saying just a minute ago, that's totally cool. That's happening. It's okay to make these mistakes in culinary school. This is a place to make those mistakes. So breaking a mayonnaise or breaking a vinaigrette or something like that is totally cool. Did this recipe change anybody's mind out there about mayonnaise? You guys still, does it taste different than the store-bought? Yeah? Thumbs up if you liked it better. Yeah? Dan liked it. Yep. I see a lot of people out there liked it. It's so much better when it's fresh and there's no chemicals and there's no preservatives in there. That makes such a better quality product. And like we were talking about here just a few moments ago, now that you've learned the technique to make the mayonnaise, you're unstoppable because somebody just mentioned, was that Adam, I think, or somebody just mentioned the fact that you can start making aioli, all of the mayonnaise-based dressings, the ranch and the blue and all these other dressings and the French that are out there, they're all mayonnaise-based dressings. You can go in a lot of different directions. So now that you've learned the technique, if you had problems with the technique, it's totally cool. Just keep trying. Go back, push, 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 and do it again. Yeah. What'd you guys think about the vinaigrette?
I had a question about that. I put on my narrative. Is there any way, I prefer more acid than oil. Can we use less oil to make our vinaigrettes?
That is totally your call because as a chef, you're pretty much in charge of your own destiny. And our big focus here at Escoffier is to make sure that you understand the technique, right?
So it's not like a basic. You can use less oil.
You can use less oil, more vinegar. If you guys thought it was too acidic, we add a little bit of sugar to it. If you want to create a thicker emulsion, you could add some apricot puree. You could add Dijon mustard. There's a lot of different directions you can go with it. But it sounds to me like you picked up on the basic technique, which was what we were shooting for. Does that make sense?
Vinaigrette typically is oil to vinegar is typically a 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 ratio oil to vinegar. But you can tinker with that. It depends on the oil, it depends on the vinegar, and like Chef was saying, if you get some other flavors going on in there, you can change that. Will change it as well. And also think that liquid that is vinegar could be other things. So let's try a combination of vinegar and tomato juice. Let's try a combination of like cider vinegar and orange juice or something, so those, this is where you get creative. What we gave you was a simple recipe that is a clean canvas so that you can get some creativity going. That's the whole idea.
That's absolutely right. And, messing around with different vinegars, if you're going to switch over, I think we use white vinegar or apple cider vinegar, a lot of you, or even some use red wine vinegar. Once you switch over to a vinegar that's a little bit higher in sugar, such as a balsamic or a white balsamic, you're going to get a totally different flavor out of that vinaigrette and a totally different consistency. So the world is big out there. I worked in a French restaurant when I did my externship from culinary school like a long time ago, and we had to make a sherry vinaigrette every night with sherry wine vinegar, and that was part of the gig. Chef Matthew, how's the garden?
Hey, the garden's good. I've been pickling. I got these cucumbers.
You're not getting pickled though, right?
Me?
We don't want you to get pickled. Not before the program.
No. Only on weekends.
Only
did I say that out loud? No. Anyway, no. I've got these cucumbers, and it's called pickle bush cucumber, and they're kind of small. They're about half-size cucumbers, but they have a soft skin on them, so they make really, really good pickles. And so I've got about 12 jars in the fridge, and my wife is wondering what we're going to do with all of them. So
awesome. Good problem to have. How were the assignments this week?
Assignments were good. Really, a couple things I saw or the photos. Almost everybody has improved on getting the photos, getting the number down to just what we need. And it looks like some of you that were having problem with light are doing a lot better, so I can see the pictures a lot better. Narratives we need to work on. I tried not to hit you too hard on points with that, because we really kind of had a new one this week or week 4 with that. So but I will be a little more picky coming into the future on those. So but looking really good. I have to say though, please, stuff we say on live session, please listen up and heed our warning. As far as like I had people using extra virgin olive oil for their mayonnaise. I had people adding their oil too fast. I had people using whole eggs instead of separated egg yolks. Man, you got to pay attention to these details, because they'll eat you up. Especially with this week 5 assignment, this is going to be there's a lot of intricacy here. So pay attention to the assignment directions, and you'll have a much easier time. So
agreed. Yeah, that's good feedback. Thank you very much for that. Don't worry about the narratives. We're going to talk about that here in a few minutes, everyone. We're going to kind of give you a quick review once again, just to help you out. I know it's a little bit frustrating when you first start, but trust me, once you become a chef in industry, you're going to have a whole room full of chefs, and you're going to have to be able to describe. You're going to have to be able to describe your product. You're going to have to be able to describe how to make it. You're going to have to be able to taste it and describe that to a customer. It is a big part of your responsibility when you become a chef. You have to become a salesman at the table, and you can't just go and stand by somebody's table and say, "Good evening, it's acidic." It doesn't roll like that. You're selling that product. You're selling that food that you made, and you have to get your guest excited and your staff excited. So learning how to do this is really critical. Those of you that had challenges with the mayonnaise or the emulsions, please remember that making mayonnaise is a lot like learning how to ride a bike. The only best way to learn how to ride a bike is to fall off of it. And the best way to learn how to make a mayonnaise is to break it. So don't beat yourselves up. Stay positive and keep trying, because it's perfectly normal. How'd we do on the Google Drive this week?
It was much better. There were way less problems. I think I only entered 1 into Zendesk, Jeff. And awesome. I did a lot of Google Voice texting with people, but it wasn't over a lot of that stuff that we had trouble with in week 2. So awesome. Drastic improvement. And thank you guys so much. That makes my grading job so much easier. Then I can spend more time, because you guys probably notice I like talking about food, right? Yeah. So then I can spend more time.
I'm not biased or anything, but this class rocks. We got a lot of good students in here, and it's really impressive. So thank you, everybody, for stepping it up on Google Drive. If you're still having challenges, don't forget on our class page that you can go to the class page, and at the top of the class page, there's a little button that says Help. Click on that, and then just click on Help Center. There's a ton of videos in there that can help you out and get you through it. This week, people, we're getting busy. Remember, we told you back in week 1, the assignment was simple. It got a little bit more difficult. Week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, we're stepping it up a little bit. Time management. I know I've talked to a couple of you guys out there, and you're working a lot of hours. You're in industry already, or you have other jobs, and you have kids, and you've got dogs, and you got goats, and you got chickens, and there's no time to get anything done. So there is. You gotta start working on the time management, because this week we have 4 different cooking assignments: a narrative, a discussion board, and a knowledge check. So we got a lot going on, and we keep harping on this, but these are habits that you have to develop now before you get into industry to make yourself successful. Time management is huge, and if you haven't done it before, It takes a lot of self-discipline. If you're a little low in that area, just start taking baby steps, right? Commit to doing something tonight for 15 minutes, do it. Bingo, that's step one. Tomorrow night, 15 minutes, boom, do it. So, we're here to help you with that. We have a lot of support for you out there. Culinary arts as a whole takes a lot of discipline to be successful. Each and every one of you out there are capable of doing it. You just have to start doing it. That's all. Just take a little baby step and then make that baby step bigger next time, bigger, bigger, and bigger. And you're going to become successful. Hey, Matthew, Chef Matthew.
Hey,
How they doing with shoes out there?
I didn't see any toes this last week, so I'm really excited. When I'm looking at food and I'm thinking how delicious something looks, and then I see some hairy toes, that's not it.
No bright red shoe polish or nail polish, none of that?
No.
Oh, that's awesome, because you know what? This week we're going to start cooking with eggs and flipping eggs and doing all that other kind of good stuff. So just as a rule of thumb, you might want to really consider wearing those shoes. It is a requirement. How do we do with hats this week?
Much better. I think it was just a couple that didn't have hats. So it was good. Uniforms are looking good. And, they're just a couple that didn't give me a head to toe shot. And that is points I really hate taking out, because those are easy points.
Do you ever have to wear the tall toques? The tall paper hats? There you go. Yeah.
I always wore, this is what we call the coffee filter.
That's a classic chef's toque. I'm over 6 feet tall, so I can't wear those because they get knocked off on the hood systems all day. And,
yep.
Well, thank
Cotton
God.
thermo curtains and yeah.
Thank God for the skull cap. Check it out this week. We're getting into some hot foods. We're getting into some eggs and omelets and hollandaise and that kind of stuff. I will give you a word of advice that will make your life easy. Incorporate this assignment into your actual meals for yourself and your family. Kill two birds with one stone, right? So instead of having to cook dinner at home and then having to turn around and cook dinner for your family, just do it all at once. You know what? Tonight's dinner, over easy eggs. Tonight's dinner, French omelets. Tonight's dinner, hollandaise sauce. Guess what? They're going to eat it and they're going to like it. And you're going to get a lot of experience out of doing it, and you're going to save yourself a lot of time and energy, and that's a good part of your time management. Saves money, everything else. So I highly recommend getting into that. It's going to be exciting. How many people out there have clarified butter? Yeah? Abigail has. Looks like Jay has down there. Jessica, Melvin, Nate's down there going like this. Yeah? Gianna, yeah. Sandra's out there going, I don't know. Yeah. So, clarified butter this week. That's going to be one of the first things that we're going to be making, and it is a kitchen staple. Pay attention for the next few minutes real close, because we're going to talk about some vital information for your career. Number one, in the kitchen, in industry, we do not use salted butter. It's pretty rare that you find salted butter in a kitchen. And the reason for that is we like to be able to control the amount of salt that we put into our ingredients, number one. Number two, when you go to clarify it, that salt condenses and the flavor becomes very tough. And then number three, if your baker is quite sleepy in the morning and he goes into the walk-in and he'll grab a block of salted butter off the shelf, and you'll end up with salty muffins. And so we only use unsalted butter in the commercial kitchens, which is important. Before anyone asks, because this is a common question here, no margarine. If anybody ever reads the label of margarine, I think you have to be a chemist to completely understand it, because the majority of it is water and it is chemicals. I think there's more chemicals in margarine than there is in plastic. So margarine, no, bad. Don't cook eggs in margarine. Don't use margarine. It's not healthy, and it is a bad thing. Any questions about that? Yeah, everybody got that? Good. Check it out. Butter is about 80% fat, right? That nice yellow liquid that we like in there. And it's about 20% milk solids and liquid in there. And so what we need to do this week is we need to get rid of that 20%. The 20%'s got to go. So we're going to do that this week. What we're going to do is we're going to take a block of butter and we're going to put it into a pot. And we're going to put that pot on the stove and we're going to put it over low heat, medium low heat, and we're going to watch that butter melt. And as it melts, the liquid is going, the milk solids are going to rise to the surface. And once they boil just a little bit, gently, very gently, because if you boil it too much, it forces the butter to re-emulsify and you'll never get it to clarify. And if you boil it at too high of a heat, what happens is those milk solids actually burn. And we don't want that either, do we? Because we don't like the flavor of the brown butter for the hollandaise sauce. So that milk scum comes to the top. We're going to skim that off and we're going to discard that liquid. Some cultures use it. I know the Italians like to use that when they make certain dishes. They actually cook their pasta in it, which is totally cool. But for this exercise, when that butter melts, it bubbles just a little bit. We're going to remove that scum. You're going to notice that that butter now is going to become very clear. And we're going to take that and we're going to pour it through cheesecloth into another container. How many people out there have cheesecloth already? Anybody? Melvin's got some. Looks like Dan's got some. No. Natasha's like this. No. No. Richardson up there. No. Chanty. Check it out. We got great news for you. You can use a coffee filter and it works just the same. So if anybody has any of those paper coffee filters laying around the house, which I think we all do from the 1980s, you can just certainly run your butter through that, and that will rid the remainder of the solids. And you ask, why do we clarify butter? Well, number one, your hollandaise sauce this week will not thicken because of the additional liquid in there. It's going to come out too thin. And then number two, in the kitchen, we use it for a lot of different purposes, from making roux to making sauces, to cooking eggs and all sorts. It's an all-purpose workhorse in the kitchen. So learn how to do it and make it right. Our friend, Chef Luke, has created an absolutely awesome video on how to clarify butter. We're going to take a quick look at that right now to make sure that everybody understands how to do it. So I'm going to share my screen with everybody. Somewhere in here. Can everybody see my screen?
Looks good.
Looks good. Rock and roll, people. What is that? Seinfeld. We got to see it twice. It's Seinfeld. All right, everyone. That is the world of clarified butter. So, yeah, I've never seen anybody incorporate Seinfeld into a cooking video before, but that was kind of cool, man. You got to give him some credit.
It is liquid gold, though.
That it is liquid gold, and in the hotel industry, we always did it in 50-pound batches with 50-pound cubes of butter, which are woo. It's a French man's fantasy to get a hold of something like that. Once again, when you're clarifying that butter, don't let it boil. Don't let it boil for an extended period. Number one, you're going to burn the milk solids. Number two, you're going to force that butter to re-emulsify, and you're going to have a mess on your hands. So with this technique, follow the technique. There's a lot of other techniques out there to clarify butter, from just simply melting it to refrigerating it and then poking the hole and turning it upside down and draining everything off. Stay focused on the technique this week. It's real important. Once you learn how to clarify this butter, you're going to be using it quite a bit in industry. It's a very common tool that we use. Hollandaise sauce. How many people out there have had it before? Anybody? Oh, wow, that's a good crowd, man. Vincent, you're not raising your hand. No hollandaise? No? Maybe. All right, check it out. Hollandaise sauce is one of the 5 mother sauces out there. The 5 mother sauces developed by Auguste Escoffier many moons ago. Those sauces include velouté, bechamel, espagnole, tomato, hollandaise. Did I say them all? Is that 5? That's pretty close. It's a very universal sauce. It's very similar in nature to the mayonnaise. A little bit of a different cooking method. However, once you learn the technique of creating the hollandaise, the world is yours. You can add a multitude of different things to it. You can make Béarnaise sauce, which has the shallots and the vinegar and the tarragon. You can make Maltese, which is citrus. You can make Chiron, which is tomato. Not to mention just hitting it with a little bit of chipotle or red chili. So once you learn to make this sauce, there's a lot of different directions you can go in. This is a sauce that you will see in industry once again. So make sure that this week, for this instant, you really stay focused on the technique. It's extremely critical. I was saying that it was very similar in nature to the mayonnaise because it is an egg yolk, acid, and oil emulsion, and that's about where it all ends. So, has anybody out there ever made hollandaise? Anybody? Yeah, Dan has. Awesome. Paula has. Looks like Jay down there has. That's pretty awesome. Ruben, what about you? Yeah, you've made it? Yeah, awesome. Cool. Check it out. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take a small pot, right? It's got to be, and you're going to fill that pot with about halfway with water, and you're going to put it on your stove, and you're going to bring it to a simmer. Do not bring it to a boil. It's going to create too much heat, and you're going to force your eggs to curdle a little bit further down in the process. Once you have your pot on the stove, while it's warming up, you're going to take a stainless steel bowl or a glass bowl. Do not use plastic because plastic does not do well with heat, they tell me. So you're going to take that stainless steel bowl or glass bowl, and you're going to put your egg yolks and cold water into the bowl, and you're going to whisk it for a few moments. And what that's going to do is that's going to incorporate some air, and it's going to make it a little bit lighter, and it's also going to change the color of the egg yolks slightly. They're going to lighten up just a little bit. You're going to take a towel in a hand. Make sure you have towel in hand. Don't forget that, because this is a dish that once you start making it, if you have to stop to run to grab mise en place, or you have to stop to run to answer the front door, or stop to run to do something else, it's going to mess everything up. So you want to make sure you're completely organized before you begin this. Make sure that mise en place is nice and set and ready to go. Towel in hand, grab your bowl, set it on top of your pot, bowl, and you're going to set that on top of your water, and you're going to begin whisking vigorously. Make sure that you don't spray your egg yolks up on the side of the bowl, because those are going to get exposed to a lot of extra heat and they're going to curdle. So you're going to want to keep everything nice and neat down in the bottom of your bowl, and you're going to be whisking. And as you're whisking vigorously, those egg yolks, you're going to incorporate air. They're going to become lighter, but they're also going to get thick, and you're going to keep doing that until they get to a ribbon-like consistency. Don't take it any further than that, because eggs are very susceptible to carryover heat. Carryover heat, for example, those egg yolks get up to about 176 degrees when they begin to start cooking. When you take them off the stove, guess what? They're still 176 degrees, so they're still cooking. So you want to pull them off about a second before they're actually done. You're going to pull them off. You're going to keep whisking vigorously. Everybody out there, remember, last week we asked you to take a wet towel, like you're going to whip somebody. You're going to take that towel, you're going to roll it up, and then you're going to make a circle on top of your cutting board, and you're going to set that bowl into your circle. This will prevent your bowl from spinning as you're whisking in the butter. You're going to take your warm room temperature butter, not hot. It's not Tucson, right? It's not Phoenix. We just want warm room temperature butter, and you're going to begin whisking vigorously, and you're going to start adding a drop, as you're whisking, a drop. You're going to drop, and you're going to create that initial emulsion. As you add additional butter, that's going to begin to thicken. It's going to begin to get very thick. If it becomes too thick, you're going to run into the danger zone of breaking that hollandaise sauce. So you're going to add a little bit of lemon juice to go ahead and thin it down just a little bit. You're going to add the entire amount of butter. By the time you're done, it should still be slightly pourable. Hollandaise is a pourable sauce. Mayonnaise is not. You could like stick a fork in the mayonnaise and it's like, woo, right? So the Hollandaise is pourable because you pour it over your ingredients. So you should be able to take a spoon and rub your finger down the back. It'll stay completely divided, a little bit thicker than what we were talking about last week with the nappe. So once you get to that point, something we haven't talked about in this class much because we haven't cooked much, right? Guess what you need to do? April up there is on. No. April, you got to taste, right? Everything you cook in the kitchen, you have to have a tasting spoon, right? It is critical. You guys are getting to the point now. We're almost halfway through this course. We're in week 5 out of 12 weeks. You have to take a spoon and you have to taste everything because it's got your face on it when you serve it. So once you're at that thick ribbon stage, you got all your butter in there, you've added your cayenne, you've added your salt and your pepper, you're going to taste it and you're going to have to adjust the flavors. This is where that flavor wheel on your narrative comes into play. So it's very, very important. Some of the things that you can do with the asparagus, obviously Eggs Benedict is one of the most sultry Sunday morning breakfasts that you can have out there with a mimosa. A poached egg topped with hollandaise sauce is absolutely delicious. Grilled asparagus, delightful, right over the top. Any type of seafood goes really well with hollandaise, and not to mention many other dishes as well. So that is hollandaise, and Chef Luke, our friend, has got us another video that we're going to take a look at. This is kind of a cool video. Pay close attention so we can get this one right. See if we can pull this up correctly here.
Eggs Benedict will be my last meal. If I have control of that situation, that will be my final meal. That will be. It is so good.
It's got a little cholesterol in it, so you know. I guess we won't have to give you the defibrillator to eat it.
Right.
Give you your last meal. So let's take a look at the hollandaise sauce.
Yeah, just like mayo at this point. Really going to seem the same to you.
I was thinking he drinks a lot of coffee before these videos.
Yeah, use your seasoning. That's when you season. That's when you adjust the thickness. Should be pourable. If you like butter, you will love hollandaise.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a great video. I know it's a little bit quick. These videos, by the way, for your convenience here at Escoffier are located on the class page, which I will point out to you right here. This is the week 5. I don't know if anybody noticed this lovely video right here. We have the week 5 class page, and then down here at the bottom of the class page are the videos that we are all taking a look at right now. So they are there for your reference while you are preparing these dishes. Next on the agenda, poached eggs. Anybody out there make poached eggs? Anyone? Yeah? Cool. I love poached eggs. It's a different type of presentation. It's kind of fun. It's a lot of people claim, hey, it's lower in fat. You're just cooking the stuff in liquid. So what does it really matter? So poached eggs are a classic dish that go with the hollandaise on the Eggs Benedict. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pan or our pot, a shallow pot, and we're going to put water in about halfway. We want about that deep right there. And we're going to add some vinegar. Vinegar helps the egg whites coagulate, depending on how hard your water is and all that kind of good stuff. You want to put just a slight touch of vinegar into the water. And egg whites, when we say coagulate, we're saying stick together. It's going to help them stay as one. So we're going to take that water, put it into the pot with a little bit of vinegar. We put the pot onto the stove over medium-low heat, and we're going to bring it to a simmer. Very important at this point, not to boil the water, because when we start cooking the eggs, poaching the eggs in there, or once you get into poaching fish, that rapid boil is going to tear your product apart and force your product to cook too quickly and make the proteins too tough. So a simmer is very, very important. For this exercise, take some eggs and you're going to crack them into a separate container. Very, very important. Number one, we want to make sure that we're not getting any shells into the poaching liquid. Number two, we want to make sure that those egg yolks are nice and together. So if we have broken egg yolks, discard those, use those for the omelets, perfectly fine. But for this exercise, you're going to crack your eggs into a nice clean container on the side there. It's very, very important. So once your water is simmering, a lot of people like to take a slotted spoon and swirl the water. Some say it helps the egg whites stay coagulated. I like to do it because it prevents the eggs from sticking on the bottom of the pan. So you're going to gently, if your pot, this is your pot. I know it's my hand, but it's actually your pot. And you're going to gently lower the egg down and pour the egg into the simmering liquid. And that you need to be gentle with your eggs at this point. The reason for that is you don't want that yolk to break. You don't want liquid splashing all over the place. Don't stand in the back of the kitchen and lob the egg into the simmering liquid. It ain't gonna work, man. So you gotta be really, really careful with that. Once that's in there, you're gonna take your slotted spoon after about 30 seconds and just gently knock the egg a little bit. Make sure it's free floating in the water. Make sure you only add about 1 egg at a time, because what happens in industry, I used to work for Fairmont Hotels, and we would poach 300 to 600 eggs a day. And if we were to add that many eggs to the liquid all at once, you're going to cool that liquid way down. And the recovery time would be too slow, and you're going to have egg whites everywhere. So you're going to want to add your eggs slowly to allow the recovery time to allow that water to get back up to its proper temperature. It's very, very important to follow that rule. Once they're in there, you're going to let them cook 60 seconds, 90 seconds, depending on elevation, depending on the size of the eggs. But you're going to reach in with your slotted spoon, and you're going to pull them out. You're going to allow that water to drain, right? Because you don't want to be serving really eggs that are swimming. And you're going to shake it. You're going to put it down onto the plate. What you're looking for the egg whites that are nice and firm, and the egg yolk very runny. Okay. The way I like to do it, and the way we train our cooks in industry, is we take a fist like this. Has anybody out there have a brother or sister? Yeah, you guys ever used to like beat each other up, when you guys were little, right? So kind of like that kind of fist, right? Right, and right in this area right here, you're going to feel that area right in between your index finger and your thumb. And if you feel the firmness there, that's a pretty good indication as to the way the egg should be feeling. Does everybody feel that? It's got some pressure on it, but that poached egg should have that same feeling as well. So when you pull that out, you're going to make sure that you not taste it, but you're going to cut it open. And you're going to watch that egg yolk flow out. And so that will be completely awesome. There is no video this week of poached eggs. It's a pretty simple process. It's the most simple dish that you're going to do. It's probably going to take you 5 minutes to do this exercise. So it's in and out. It's very, very fast.
It's an easy one to practice too. I mean, just, drop an egg in there, and if there's too much motion in the water, the white's going to fly apart, and then you'll go, okay, next time I'm going to slow the water down, and I'll put, thankfully eggs are cheap too. So, and they're good to eat. So, I love eggs. So
you got
it. Practice it.
You got it. Over easy eggs. How many over easy egg eaters do we have out there? Yeah, you got quite a few. That's a good crowd. This is a really important dish to learn how to make. I know some people are going to be opposed to eating over easy eggs. I only eat them over medium or well done. In the industry, you're going to have to learn how to make all the different styles of eggs. And over easy eggs are one of the basic starting point. It's critical that you understand one thing when it comes to making eggs in a pan. Low and slow. You can't rush the process. A lot of people are out there thinking, oh, over easy egg, I'll just crank the pan and I'll get it super hot. I'll add my butter and cook them, and it doesn't work that way. You have to be patient. They do cook quickly, but you do have to take some time, right? Teflon pan. See, anybody out there have one of these? Yeah, Ruben's going thumbs up. A bunch of you guys are shaking your head. Awesome. Something to remember about Teflon pans, right? You don't need to run out and buy the most expensive one on the shelf. It's not necessary, but treat it with respect. Never, ever, 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 ever let anybody put any metal inside the pan. Bad. We don't do that. It's very, very critical because that Teflon scratches. Once that Teflon scratches, where do you think it goes? Right? Right down the throat, and it's not the best thing for you. So we want to make sure that we're only wiping these out with a clean towel, and that's it. Some warm soapy water, wipe them out. Another thing with Teflon pans, do not saute anything in them. Teflon pans at high heat, saute heat, like a 400 or 500 degree pan, gives off toxic fumes. And the toxicity levels that are released from a Teflon pan can cause damage to your lungs, and so you want to avoid doing that. That's a bad thing. So we just want to really primarily stick to these for egg dishes and light cooking. So those of you that are using Teflon pans at home, readdress what you're thinking about because they're not good for your health. What we're going to do, we're going to take our pan onto the stove over medium-low heat. We don't want to crank it, get it too hot. Once it gets warm, the best thing to cook your eggs in is whole butter. The reason for that is that whole butter has that 20% liquid. So once it melts and you add the eggs to it, it's going to have a slight layer of moisture in there, which creates a little bit of steam, which makes that egg nice and soft. And that's extremely important for over easy eggs. You can use drawn butter. Some people, or drawn butter, I mean clarified butter. Some people will use oil. I don't like the flavor profile that it gives or the softness that it adds to the egg. But you're going to put that into the pan. Your eggs will go into the pan, and then after the butter melts, add the eggs, and then the egg whites will begin to firm up. Do not get any color on the eggs. It's very, very important. No brown on the edge, perfectly white all the way across. Once that egg has solidified to the point where you can like swirl the pan around, we're going to do the flip. How many people out there have flipped products in saute pans? How many people out there are a little nervous about flipping products in saute pans? Anybody? Yeah, Abigail's doing it with a smile in there. Absolutely. Don't be nervous. This is okay. It's a learning process. Number one, when it comes to flipping things in a saute pan, it is not a contest. It is not ethical to see how high you can toss the product. That's not what it's about, right? And I've seen so many people, I've walked through kitchens and there's stuff hanging from the ceilings, and all you're trying to do is flip this poor innocent egg, and next thing you know, it's in the ceiling. So what you're going to do is once your pan and you're able to swirl the product around in the pan and it's nice and light, you're gonna let that egg come down to the very end here, and it's a flipping motion like this. And it's not so much the flip, but it's the actual catch where you have it, right? So if I flip my egg and I keep my pan solid, it's gonna be like hitting the concrete, right? Or hitting a piece of steel. And that's where that's where you run into trouble. So when you flip, you gotta catch it. Does that make sense to everybody? You have to have some give, and you have to allow it to catch, right? And that'll help keep your eggs in contact and not break apart and fall apart. Does everybody understand that out there? Yeah.
Great way to I'm sorry, great way to practice, chef, I found with students was to make a piece of toast and then just put a dry piece of toast in the pan, cold, and just flip it. Just over and over, and you get that motion down. It's kind of a circular motion. Also, if you mess up an egg, my rule is in my kitchen, I want to see you flip it 10 times. So you've already messed it up, you might as well practice with it. Flip it 10 times.
Good comment.
Yeah.
And remember, like Chef Matthew was saying, the circular motion, it's not jamming your arm left and right. You're not a sailor, right? Hi-ho, hi-ho, off to sea I go. It's more of a flick of the wrist is where this comes from. Up, catch it. Don't hold your pan still. Don't be afraid of it. Catch it and let it come back down. Don't worry about it. It's totally cool if you mess it up a couple of times. It's natural. Once you get into industry, you're going to find yourself on the line at nighttime with 2 hands going like this, flipping products back and forth. It's like riding a bike. A little bit of practice, you get good at it, and it happens. What we're looking for, the final product, once you flip that egg over, and you've done that successfully, it's going to take 10 to 15 seconds before you kill the heat. Once again, we're dealing with carryover heat. And what we're looking for are coagulated, soft egg whites with no color on them, that the egg yolks are still running. Immediately, you have to get it out of the pan, because guess what? If this pan's at 300 degrees while it's cooking your eggs, if you take it off the heat, you set it to the side, guess what temperature the pan still is? 300 degrees. So that egg is going to continue to cook. So we have to immediately get it out of the pan. A lot of chefs out there like to take plastic or rubber spatulas and lift the egg out to prevent getting that pool of oil onto the plate, which I recommend doing as well. Chef Luke has done another great video for us on the art of over easy eggs, and we're going to take a quick look at that.
Looks good. Some clarified butter there.
I like the music. Notice how he swirls the eggs around.
Nice that the eggs are fresh too. They're sticking together.
Yeah.
Ooh, slow motion. Oh, that's cool. Splat. Oh, no. That was good.
This has got Emmy written all over it.
Yay. Here's the slow yolk. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
I think Chef Luke deserves a Grammy. They just cut my electricity, but it came back on. So I apologize, everybody. Apparently something happened. I don't know. I'm not electric. What was the question?
Hey, so are we doing a separate tasting sheet for each individual assignment?
No, as in a separate narrative?
Yes.
No, thank you, Jay, for asking that, because that's a really important question. We for the weekly assignment, you only need one narrative, and on that narrative, you will list all of the different assignments. So, for example, the eggs over easy, you'll just make a comment about them. The omelet, you'll make a comment about them. The poached eggs, you'll make a comment about them all on that sheet.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions?
Abigail was just about to ask one.
Abigail, what you got?
With the omelets, could it be egg whites, or does it have to be the whole egg?
That's a good question. We prefer that you do the assignment as directed this week. Primarily, okay. And the reason for that is that we really want you to learn the actual technique and what those eggs are like, because once you get into industry, that's primarily what you're going to be dealing with. However, when you go to cook with egg whites cook at a lower temperature, and they coagulate much differently than when the egg white is mixed with egg yolk. So you would have a different product at the end of the day. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. They are harder to cook. They take a lot more oil. I've always thought that was interesting when people ordered egg whites to save on their cholesterol, and then it takes 3 times as much butter to cook it. If they really knew that, would they be ordering egg whites?
Yeah, I used to cook for Tommy Lasorda quite a bit. You remember Tommy Lasorda, the baseball player, or the baseball guy that used to do the Slim Fast commercials? Well, he would come in every day and he would order egg white omelets with a side of bacon. And then on the egg white omelet, he wanted cheese and sausage. Well, the guy ended up dying of a heart attack, right? But he at least, and when you guys get into industry, you're going to run across a lot of situations like this. And you get to cook for a lot of wealthy or famous people, and it's kind of an exciting experience. Hollandaise. Let's take, or not Hollandaise, but let's take a look at the omelet video. I think we are right in the middle of that. Before we get into the omelet video, I just wanted to touch on a couple of quick things here. There are 2 primary styles of omelets out there. One is a French omelet, and the other is a Western omelet. Western omelet, or an American omelet, traditionally is folded in half, whereas a French omelet is a trifold, right? It's almost like a burrito, but it's open-ended, but it's a trifold. And we prefer that you do the French style omelet. It involves a little bit more technique, a little bit more skill, and it's really kind of an impressive thing to do in industry. I think the eggs are a little bit more moist and soft on the inside, so that is the preference. So when you go to make your omelet this week, you're going to crack 2 eggs into a bowl. You're going to scramble them thoroughly, scramble them very well. You want to incorporate a little bit of air into there, get them a little bit light and fluffy. You're going to take your trustworthy saute pan, Teflon, not too hot. You don't want the toxic fumes. You're going to melt some whole butter into the pan. Once that pan is over the medium-low heat, you're going to pour your eggs into the pan, and you're going to begin stirring them gently just to let them set. Back off for a few minutes. Let them firm up, let them coagulate, and you're going to turn that heat down real low. At this point, you can flip them and finish them on the other side, which is a pretty common practice in industry, or you can stir them and push the egg off to the side and then down underneath, which will allow the remainder of the egg to cook. At that point, you're going to take your omelet, right? Your omelet's round like this, laying in the pan. You'll fold one side in, then you'll fold the other side over that. So you're going to fold the third in, and then you'll fold the other third over the top. Take it out and put it onto your plate. When you cut into it, it should still be nice and soft, not runny, but nice and soft on the inside. A lot of you will be tempted this week to be putting various and sundry things inside the omelets. Let's hold off on that this week. We just want to make sure that we learn the technique of making the actual omelet. So no, roasted broccoli or anything in there. Keep it simple for this week. Taking a look at the video for the French omelet. It's a great video. Once again, it's done by Chef Luke. We'll see what kind of music he's using this week for this. Here we go.
Looks good.
I like the French.
I like to say oofs.
Yeah, oof, oof.
Oof.
My dog can say that too.
So you stir the middle to get the egg cooked, and then it gets inverted so the seam side is down. You tuck in those edges. Beautiful.
Beautiful job, Chef Luke. You did it again. So,
Bon appetit.
if you noticed, we talked a few moments ago about carryover heat. Product comes out of a saute pan that's about 300 degrees. You fold it over. You want to get it onto that plate pretty quickly. And, when he took it off, it was still a little bit runny on the inside. But by the time you get done folding those hot exterior pieces into the interior, that egg yolk finishes cooking quite quickly. You notice he had no color on that omelet either, so that was beautifully done. It was absolutely fantastic. Once again, as a reminder, try to use whole butter if at all possible. Number 2, no color. Number 3, plastic spatula. Number 4, don't get that pan too hot. No milk, no cream in there, just eggs, and that's pretty much what we do in industry. So that is very, very important. Kind of something to take a look at and something to remember when it comes to be working with eggs. Be patient with the egg and be patient with yourself, both of them, right? Because eggs take time, low and slow, right? And you can't rush them. Don't get frustrated with yourself when you try to flip it and the thing goes. Practice makes perfect. So slow down. Make sure you follow the rubric this week. Speaking of rubrics, let's take a look at what is due this week. Hopefully, I don't have any more technical challenges. That'd be a bad thing, I think. So, taking a look at the assignment that's due this week. Number 1, your pictures. Try to stick with your pictures this week. Chef Matthew says that you guys have been doing a very good job with that lately. Let's keep that going in the right direction. Self-identification photo. You got your hats, your chef coat on, your sanitation bucket, 50 to 100 parts per million. Light purple strip right in the middle of those two, demonstrating the concentration of the sanitation solution. Mise en place. I mentioned this a few moments ago. It's really important when you're working with eggs that you have all your mise en place. They're very sensitive to carry over heat and to overcooking. Remember, we don't want any color on those egg whites or any color on that omelet. So if you're running around chasing down spatulas and everything else, it's not going to work out too well.
One thing real quick, Chef. Head to toe in that self-identification photo, and or top and bottom, 2 pictures or 1, and then sanitizer bucket. Some of you are making it too strong, and then you dip the strip in there, and then you put it between the middle 2 blocks on the little tube. If it doesn't match, it doesn't matter if it's between those 2 blocks. It's too strong. It's toxic. Just show me a sanitation test strip that is the right concentration. Don't show me one that's the wrong concentration, because I'll have to take points off.
Yep, good point. And it's not that Chef Matthew's being stern or difficult. That's the way it is in industry. If the health department walks in and they take a look at it, boom, you get points off your inspection. So it's something that you have to be really cognizant of when you're cooking. It's very important. Eggs over easy. You're going to take a picture of 2 properly cooked eggs. Remember, no color on those eggs. Egg yolks are still runny. Then you're going to take a fork and you're going to break those open. And you're going to demonstrate that the yolk is still runny. At that point, you will take another picture. For the poaching liquid, correct temperature. So you're going to take your thermometer and you're going to put it in there, and it's going to come out right in between 160 and 180 degrees. You'll take a picture of that. Eggs poaching in the liquid after 10 seconds. And then eggs out of the water on a plate intact. Remember to use a slotted spoon to take those eggs out of the water. You don't want it swimming on the plate. It's very, very important. And then you're going to break those eggs open and make sure that the yolk is runny, and you'll take a picture of that as well. The omelet, just like we saw in the video just a moment ago, you're going to do the properly cooked French or American. If you want to do a Western omelet, that's fine, but we do prefer that you do the French omelet. That's very, very important. And then you're going to cut the omelet in half to show the interior, and that will be your second photo for that. Hollandaise, very, very important technique to learn. Mise en place in a double boiler. Clarifying butter during the process. So you're going to get that butter melted. You're going to have basically a picture of yourself skimming the scum off the top. Then your finished product, egg yolks and water in a bowl. Proper cooking of the yolks. I know that's going to be a difficult picture to take because you're going to be holding the bowl with your towel on one hand and you're going to be stirring with the other hand. So, unless you have a third hand, you're not going to be able to take that picture. So make sure you just lift it up, pull it off, and then take the picture, put it back down so it doesn't overcook. You're going to add about 1/3 of the fat, drops at a time to get that emulsion started. Don't add a lot of butter, otherwise it'll never emulsify. Then you're going to add, you're going to take a picture after 1/3 of the fat, and then after 2/3 of the fat. And then you're going to show the consistency of the finished hollandaise. Stick a spoon in there, rub your finger down the back, and Chef Matthew will be able to tell if it's proper consistency or not. Narrative. Let's take a look at the narrative sheet. Chef Matthew mentioned that there were a couple of challenges this past week. And while I bring that up, does anyone have any questions? Chef Matthew, do we have any questions on the board about the assignment?
I don't see any. I think, do I hear somebody snoring, or is that crickets? No?
Crickets? Crickets.
Y'all hanging in there? Thank you.
We're almost there, guys. Hang tough. All right, we're going to blow through this narrative real quick. I want everybody to remember that this copy that has the suggestions and what you are supposed to put in each box is located in the week 4 class page, right down at the bottom with the other demonstration videos. And up here at the name, you put your, up here under name, you put your name, week and assignment, week number, recipes you are making, and then what the techniques are being learned. What techniques are you learning this week? You're learning the emulsion technique. You're learning the egg cookery. You're learning poaching. So those are the techniques that you're learning this week. Anything you want to share with your evaluator? Hey, Chef Matthew, I had a hard time with my hollandaise. It's broken. Chef Matthew is going to reach out to you, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about how you can prevent that from happening again. Pretend you're sending a text to somebody explaining how to make this, right? Gather mise en place, put egg yolks in bowl, whisk over boiler. Do this before you start the actual assignment. First observation, eggs are soft and runny. Second observation, egg whites came together as I was making the eggs over easy. And then down through the remainder of the page, what's it taste like after you did it? And then how would you describe this if you were talking to a customer? And then the remainder of the boxes are going to be talking about your experience. Was it a positive experience? What would you do differently? How could I change it? What did the people say that have tried it? So if anybody has any questions about this narrative, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Chef Matthew. Both of our phone numbers are listed on the class page directly underneath our pictures. So remember, any problems with the assignment, you don't understand what's going on, talk to Chef Weeks. If you have any problems with your actual individual assignment and you don't understand your grade or what's happened, talk to Chef Matthew. We're here to help you, and we're going to take you through it. Another thing that's due this week, discussion. Okay, your discussion board, make sure you get your discussion board in by Saturday. This week, it's about purchasing and receiving. You've done some of that already with these products based on your experience this far. What's been your biggest challenge with purchasing product? Can't find it, don't know where it is, had to order it online. Where are you located? How many stores, which stores do you go to get these products? And do you comparison shop for quality and price? So you are going to post your initial discussion no later than Saturday. Each day after that, you lose 1 point of the 6 points for the actual discussion. Once you've made your initial post, you need to reply to 2 other people's posts, right? And for that, you will get 4 points. So a total of 10 points on this exercise. So that is very important. And then as well, your knowledge check this week. Everybody remember that the knowledge check is open book, and you can take it as many times as you want. The high score sticks. So there's no reason you shouldn't be getting anything less than a 10 points on that, because you can take it as much as you want. Guys, it's really, really important this week. It's a bigger assignment. You have the narrative, you have the discussion board, you have the knowledge check. You're doing 4 different things this week. Time management. I highly recommend, as soon as we get done here in just a moment, jump on, get to that discussion board posted, right? Do your knowledge board, knock those 2 things out, and then you have to focus on your assignment, right? Friday, plan it out, get your mise en place. Saturday, cook your eggs, eat it with the family. Sunday, get it into Chef Matthew and get it done. You'll be set. And then we'll be looking at having a good week. Let's answer some questions here real quick. Timothy, what's going on?
Yeah, Chef. I got Three actually, and I can't remember the last one. The first one dealt with the sanitation strips. I noticed after I edited my submission this past week, the sanitation was proper, but it did look darker in the picture after I posted it. And so I'm going to have to pay closer attention to lighting. My second question is with the narrative. When we downloaded it, it was only for view only. So I had a hard time trying to get it where we could type in those boxes.
Okay, when you go and you open up the assignment for this week and for last week as well, there'll be a, I'll show you this on the screen real quick. There'll be a click or a link to open a copy or make a copy of the narrative sheet. And so that's how you prevent that from happening. Do not use the sample one that was provided.
Okay.
Let me show you this.
And like I said, I had a third one, but I'll have to try to remember it.
Okay, here for the narrative sheets, narrative and production sheet right here. This is on this week's rubric for the assignment. You're just going to click on it, and it's going to say, hey, make a copy of this, and then you're going to make a copy of that and put it into your drive after you fill it out. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not a read-only copy.
I also remember my third question.
What you got?
Shoot, I forgot it again. Never mind.
Let us know when you think of it.
On the discussions, how do we know what we got for our grade as points wise?
You should be able to look that up in your grades, in the grade book.
In the grade book?
Yes.
All right. Thanks.
Sound good? All right. Nate, what you got?
Hey, Chef. So I have a question. So say we have any problems with this week's assignment, is there a possible way, like if I needed to get a hold of you, if we could do like a one-on-one Zoom meeting at all? Or is that, if I need any help on that?
110% yes.
Okay.
All you have to do is call and we'll get together and we can do a Zoom session if you want. And I can take your product and I can walk you through it. Absolutely.
Okay. That should actually help you.
The only thing it takes to get help here at Escoffier is just a question. Right?
All right.
There's a lot of people here that are going to help you out. If I'm too busy, guess what? Somebody else is going to jump in and help out as well. Chef Matthew, he'll be glad to help you out, and I'll be glad to help you out. Anybody, we're all here for you.
So far, it seems like you're the only person. Like, I know there's other people I can contact, but you seem to answer the phone more often because I know you're probably more available, I'm guessing. Like, I know the other chefs, but I like to get a hold of you because you do answer the phone. Like, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but you've helped me so far with a lot of the assignments, and it's actually got me through the classes really well so far. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night, Nate.
And this goes back to Timothy. If I ever misgrade something like that, like I can't see and it's not right, just let me know. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you over something like that. And I know that there's going to be issues that I can't see. Even if you have good light, I'm hoping that it matches. I don't want that to be a problem or that to be a stone in your shoe. Okay, Tim?
Yes, sir. I was like, it was perfect. I put it down, took the picture, didn't even notice it until after I reviewed it, after I submitted and I was like, oh, I hope I don't get hit for that.
So the first thing you need to do in that situation, Timothy, is if you don't understand your grade or you think there might be a challenge, whatever the case is, reach out to Chef Matthew. He's going to get right back to you, and he's going to explain, and then you can explain, and everything gets worked out that way. And we don't want you walking around feeling frustrated, like something's not going on or something bad. Let us know. We're here. We want to work it out. So
yeah, I want it to be as fair as possible.
Yep.
You didn't hit me on it. I was hoping not to have got hit.
Okay. Good.
All right. How about Lana? What you got out there?
I was just wondering, I heard you said that we needed to use a Teflon pan. I have an aluminum pan. Would that work?
What kind?
Aluminum.
An aluminum saute pan? Absolutely. We don't want you to run out and have to buy a Teflon pan right off the bat, and it's not required for this assignment. Teflon pans make it a little bit easier to cook those eggs. The aluminum pans, if you're going to do that, make sure that you do use the whole butter. That's going to be your best friend to prevent that product from sticking. Ruben's down there going, yes, because in industry, we do that quite a bit. So that will work out. Make sure you get that pan a little bit warmer than what I told you. The warmer the pan is, the less chance of the sticking in the aluminum. So does that work?
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. You know what? I wanted to ask, let's see, is Michelle Richardson still there? No, I don't see her. Oh, she moved on. All right. How about Sandy? Sandy.
Hey, Chef.
Hey, Sandy.
I guess this probably is for Chef Matthew. It's regarding the narrative thing, because it says don't put your recipe there, but yet you told me to go ahead and that's where I basically put the recipe. So I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Basically, what we're looking for is production. So what you do, what you're doing for the assignment. So really, it's the method from the recipe, not the ingredients, but the method. So I may have misspoke that when I told you that in the video. I apologize, but that's what I intended. So.
Okay, so basically just put down all the steps we do pretty much to make the recipe, right?
Exactly.
Just like you're texting somebody. Hey, this is how you make the mayonnaise. You gather the mise en place. You crack the eggs. You put them into the bowl. You whisk in the oil. You season it. You taste it. Bingo.
And anything else you think is important.
Right.
Okay.
You know, you wouldn't send a friend a 500-word text. You know, and so you just kind of keep it simple. Just like you're telling a friend.
Okay. Thanks.
Sound good? All right, so everybody got your questions answered out there? You guys rock and roll. We're very impressed with what you did with week 4. Very encouraging. I know Chef Matthew's really encouraged. I'm very encouraged. This class is awesome. We will see you next week. Any questions, please feel free to reach out and let us know. We look forward to talking to you soon. Good night, guys.